You're like, okay. So, Ashwin, the question I want to ask you is, why aren't people chilled out? Why aren't they relaxed?
According to yoga, the answer is very simple. The person has concentrated pitta in their brain, which is why they're not chilled out. But then you'll ask me, what is pitta, right?
Yeah.
Because even I didn't know what this is, man. I went to Ayurvedic college and I still didn't understand what it is. Recently, I've had a really good teacher who explained it to me. So that's when I started opening my mind how as to how this one thing called pitta, this life force called pitta, affects us, and how we, by not being aware of it, we are getting inflamed in our brain, in our nervous system, in our intestines, and everywhere. So this is a concept that was understood by the ancient Indian sages while they made Ayurveda. Even before that, this concept was around. Even before Ayurveda was keyed down, people used to use these three things. The Greeks came and kind of copied it, and then they called it humus, which is a bad translation. But I would consider these three doshas as the forces of life itself. Okay. And when you look at the word doshas, let me see what what meaning it could have. There's a great website which has like a Sanskrit dictionary, and you'll be surprised to know that every Sanskrit word has 15 or 14, 15 different meanings, or sometimes even 20 different meanings. So I'm just checking it out. Um, okay. Hmm. It can mean secrets. Did you know that?
No.
So something that is not out in the open. Yeah. So one word of dosh is blame, right? And that's how we use the word, you know, dosh dena and all that kind of stuff. It comes from Sanskrit. But the other word is something that is obscure, that is not easily visible, and that is called dosh. So the hidden forces behind our life is called doshas, and one of those doshas. Do you mind? Oh, no electricity. Okay. I'm boiling in here. So one, I have too much pitta. Okay. So one of these doshas, and the middle one is called pitta. They are Vata, Pitta, Kapha, the three doshas, the three secret forces that shape our health, our life, and our bodies, and even our minds. So it's a very elegant concept. Vata is a mobile force. So basically, its job is to move and transport doshas and pitta and kapha around the body. Okay. So Vata's job is just transportation, transport, 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 and sometimes create pressure where pressure is needed. Like um, make movement in the body. First thing you can think of is intestinal movement, which is called peristalsis, breathing, which is also a movement, and heartbeat, which is also a movement, and artery beats, which are also a movement. You know that it's not your heart is not a blood pump. It's actually like a blood filter, just like the kidneys also filter out toxins. The heart kind of segregates the blood and sends the oxygenated blood. So it's a blood oxygenation chamber. It's not really a pump. All the pumping is done by the arteries. So the arteries have their own pump. The pulse you feel over here is not your heartbeat being transmitted down your hand. Right? People say, I can feel my heartbeat in my hand. I can feel my heartbeat in my leg. I can feel my heartbeat here. No, this pulsation that you get here, the temporal pulse, is um, is not coming from the heart. It's the artery itself going boop, boop, boop. Okay. So there's various pumping actions and there's movements of the eyes, movements of the hands. All of these are attributed to Vata. And also, transportation of material inside the body is attributed to Vata. But specifically, Vata is attributed with transporting two kinds of forces more along with it. So, in addition to transporting things like proteins and blood and lymph and that and this, Vata is also transporting two invisible and hidden forces, the doshas, and one of them is called Pitta, and Kapha is the other one. Okay, so Pitta is generated between the navel and the sternum. So this is the sternum, this is the sternum, this is the navel. What all the organs in between here are fire organs: the pancreas, the liver, the gallbladder, the small intestine, and the stomach. Okay, so these five organs are fire generating organs, heat generating organs, and that heat is being taken everywhere. Okay, well, the spleen is a cooling organ. The spleen is also contained within this band, and that's the one organ that cools the body. So if people want to chill out, they have to spleen out. They have to they have to transport the coolness from the spleen to the rest of the body, and they can chill. You can do this meditatively by keeping your hands on the end points, like the sternum and the navel, and then focusing on the organs. You should know where they are, and then moving specific heats out of the body. You can just use your breath. Your breath is vata. I mean, the movement of your breath is because of vata, and you can use your breath to move the heat out of your limbs. If you do this practice every day by focusing on the heat between these two, in this midsection, cross section of your body, between the navel and the sternum, all the heat should move out of your toes, out of your foot, and out of your head and out of your palms. They should just keep moving out. So the more you concentrate on it, you don't have to keep your hands anymore. After some time, when you've concentrated, you can also let the heat out of your palms. And all this is pitta. So the vata will take the pitta out. Otherwise, the vata is going empty. It's like an empty cap. It's not carrying anything. And so a lot of people get inflamed intestine because they're not moving the pitta out of there. A lot of people get pitta in the face, swollen gums and swellings inside the mouth and swellings in the nose. They get inflamed nasal passages, sinuses. They get inflamed throat, yeah, and fever and all of this stuff. Fever is just like wide inflammation where the pitta is not able to move out of the hands and the legs. It's gotten stuck in the body. So it's a different model. It's a different way to look at it using the doshas, whereas Western medicine is looking at it using what is visible and just physical, and they don't have the full picture because then they're avoiding the main important thing, which is the invisible forces that shape the physical. So when we start understanding this, then miraculously you can reduce inflammation in the body, and basically a bad mood or a hot mood or a high temper or those kind of people, in Kannada we actually say that the pitta has risen to their brain, forehead. Yeah, Pitta nettigeriದೆ, they say in Kannada. So it is pitta has come into their head, forehead. So when the brain is inflamed, then the person acts cranky. It affects them emotionally, and they start behaving hot-headed, lose their temper, and they behave really bad. And then tinnitus. Have you heard of tinnitus? Those who have tinnitus are hearing it all the time. It's ringing in the ears, right? So somebody told me today, if you have any solution for tinnitus, I'm all ears. I started cracking up, right? So it's really easy to fix all these things if you learn how to move the stuck pitta out of the ears. So basically, it needs concentration. Put your hands here, concentrate, and through your breathing, just move it out of the top of your head. Look, it can only escape from the top of your head, Brahmarandra, or it can escape from your palms, Hasta, or it can escape from your feet, Pada, under your feet. That's it. These are the only areas from which Pitta can leave the body, and when it leaves, it gets into the aura. Anywhere else, if it's stuck, you just need to just move it with the Vata, with the breath. Just gently, gently keep moving it, and the pitta gets transported. Remember, pitta is essential for the life force. It's the metabolic fire of every cell. And it's essential that from this area it gets generated and it reaches every cell. You know, some people get cold fingers and
Yeah.
cold toes and cold nose. That's because pitta isn't reaching their extremities because it's very weak. They're not able to generate pitta because obviously they're not eating a right kind of diet and not following a good lifestyle where they aren't sleeping enough and on time. They sleep very late, and then they not able to generate pitta. It gets weaker and weaker and weaker, you know. And there are some, so there are diseases where there's excess pitta and that's inflammation, and there are diseases where there's no pitta, like erectile dysfunction. There's no pitta inside uh, the penis, so then the person is not able to have an erection, and the reason is it's not being generated enough. So to generate more pitta also, you need to follow a good lifestyle. Number one, sleep at 9 o'clock and wake up at 6. Okay, wake up at 5 or 6 or whatever. You'll wake up early automatically. If you just hit your bed at 9 o'clock, put your devices away at 4:30, hit your bed at 9 o'clock, you're automatically going to start generating the right amount of pitta as your day-night cycles come, um, to balance. Then your hormonal cycles will come into balance. Pitta is responsible for all the hormonal cycles. Okay, and the second thing is maybe to have your food only between 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Don't eat after 6 p.m. It kills pitta. It makes the pitta less. So try and finish your food between 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. You'll start getting a good digestive fire, and do your workouts in the morning. Don't. I mean, you can work out in the evening. I work out morning and evening, but don't work out only evening. Work out especially in the morning to get your pitta going, and eat your breakfast before 8 o'clock in the morning. These small tips can go a long way in helping you to generate the right kind of pitta to cure diseases like ED, and to cure disease like cold fingers and cold extremities, and also not having healthy hair, not having healthy skin, pale skin, and stuff like that. Inflamed skin is different, and pale skin is different, right? You don't have enough blood, you don't have enough circulation. All these kind of problems can be solved, and you can have a really good and glowing face and skin if you have the right kind of pitta circulating, and you'll have good hair growth. You'll comb your hair, and there'll be hardly in 4 or 5 hairs which come out after you comb your hair, right? Earlier, I was going completely bald. Now I got this all this hair coming up because I started to balance the pitta. If your pitta is not reaching your head, then your hair will start falling out, and your teeth will get very weak if the pitta is not reaching. I mean, the gums, not the teeth. And if it's excess pitta, then you'll get inflammations everywhere. You know, your eyes will get inflamed. You'll use the computer for 3 hours, and then your eyes will burn. Any kind of burning in the body is pitta getting stuck. Okay, so I hope now it's clear, why people get hot-headed, because pitta netti geride. They've got the pitta straight into their forehead behind. Prefrontal cortex has gotten inflamed, and that's why they're hot-headed. You want to cool it down, then you have to take the coolness from the pancreas there, and also you need to remove that stuck pitta out of the top of your head. Let it go. Oh, I think this is neti. The in Kannada, this part, the top of your head. They say pittas come all the way up here and stuck there. It's not coming out. So need to use your breath and move it out. Use your breath and move it out of your fingers. And I used to have cold fingers, numb fingers, all kind of stuff. But when I started moving the pitta, no such problems. All gone. Okay. Cool. I hope that was useful. Do you have any other questions?
Yes. So you talked about inflammation.
Hmm.
So are there any scenarios where inflammation is good? Like science says that when you're injured, it's a good thing to have inflammation because it means a lot of white blood cells will come there and they'll resolve it.
They say that the immune system causes inflammation, but the immune system knows how to work without inflammation. Inflammation is bad distribution of pitta, that's it. And you've seen that the inflammation causes so much inconvenience. Is the body designed like that? No. But has it become like that because of poor lifestyle? Yes. Okay, look, I do a lot of things that I should get inflamed with, like especially exercise. I do a lot of it. But I have a very clean diet. I don't eat inflammatory foods. I don't eat food that increase pitta. For example, glyphosate, which is a chemical, a weed killing chemical, which was called Agent Orange and was sprayed on Vietnamese jungles, and that is being sprayed on our food to kill weeds. And people exposed to glyphosate have had a lot of inflammation in their body. So you should avoid glyphosate. Where is it coming from? It's coming in your water. If you don't have an RO, you can't remove it. If you have any other filtration system at home, like UV, it's not going to work. It will not remove glyphosate. It will only kill bacteria. And really, I'm telling you, bacteria are the least of our problems. Uh, it's the chemicals running in our water. The same water is fed to animals, and on top of that, the animals are fed fodder, which is basically Roundup ready. They call, right. Agent Orange became Roundup. Roundup is very popular thing that is sprayed on plants. It's the most inflammatory chemical in the world, and it's sprayed on all wheat plantations to remove the weed. And then they use Roundup Ready wheat because otherwise the wheat also won't grow. This is a chemical that goes and disrupts the alkaloid pathway in plants. It also disrupts pathways in human beings. And on top of that, it has the property, when combined with genetically modified wheat, gliadin is excess in genetically modified wheat. If you eat heritage wheats, nothing's going to happen to you. Yeah. But once you have this thing, you have the regular wheat, which you get all your attas and whole wheats and that and this and maidas and that and this. They're heavily sprayed, and they have a molecule called gliadin that's really powerful, and it opens up the tight junctions of the body. So where are the tight junctions? On the skin and on the intestine, and it opens them up. So what is the function of the tight junctions? They're smart barriers. They let in the nutrients and they keep out the toxins. They're very smart barriers. Our bodies are really smart, but you have to feed it the right things. If you feed it gliadin goes and it sits on the thing and opens all the junctions out. And then you have leaky skin and you have leaky gut. So people with leaky skin and leaky gut, anything can happen. You can have like terrific inflammations. Yeah. So this is part of lifestyle. We have to be aware of what we eat. You cannot eat wheat. It is terrible, 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 terrible for inflammation. And such people, when they get injured, they'll have double inflammation, triple inflammation. Immune system comes to the place, and there's a whole lot of inflammation. And science is saying this is normal. It's not normal to get so inflamed. Okay. And then same thing is fed to animals, right? Same wheat and same corn and same soya, these are all like genetically modified and heavily sprayed with glyphosate, and the animals are eating that and they're drinking the water. That nobody gives RO water to the cow, and then the cow is giving you milk. Now you can't pass the milk through the RO. So what you do is you just boil the milk and you hope for the best. But glyphosate doesn't break down with boiling the milk. It comes right into your paneer and ghee as well. Okay. So the vegans are escaping, but they're eating wheat nicely, so they're not escaping either. Okay. I don't subscribe to food because of philosophy. I know what's going on in my food and I avoid all the inflammatory foods. So what are the inflammatory foods? Wheat, dairy, eggs, because the chicken is also being fed the same feed and drinking the same water. And you know how it goes. So the eggs also have huge amounts of glyphosate. And people eating these things, they get PCOD and all sorts of inflammations. And then they come to me. And then when I stop them from eating all this and I repair their microbiome by asking them to go out in nature and spend 1 hour in a natural place where there's a lot of microbiome from the plants, when they're able to do that, then they get better automatically. And I also put them on fasting. I put them on intermittent fasting. I make them do water fasting, and all the kachra comes out of their body, and they'll see the kachra coming out. They literally see like froth in their pee and different colors in their pee, and even their stools turn some various shades. I said, don't Google your stool shade color. while you're doing the fast because you'll think you got cancer, right? And then they get cleaned out. And once they're cleaned out, they don't have the health conditions anymore. Then I start them on warrior training, like make them into warriors, right? And that is some very secret stuff where I teach you how to move the Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. So nobody's teaching this. Nobody knows this. Yeah, nobody has any idea how to do it. Even the Ayurvedic doctors have no clue how to do it. So, but it's such a powerful concept. Yeah, Kapha can be another talk by itself. Kapha is the one which gives strength to the body. Is generated in the lungs, and similar process you move it to develop strength, repair soft tissues that are not repairing. I had a soft tissue injury that was not at all repairing, but when I started moving kapha into it, 3 4 days it became all right. Okay, so and then people were telling me that it's gout and all that. Don't read your blood reports; just leave them alone. Okay, the more you get into it, the more scared you'll become. All right, because what will you do? Your doctor will just look at it like this, like this, like this, and write you a prescription. He'll not explain to you what the blood report means. So what do? You go and Google it. When you go and Google it, the first thing that you'll understand is that you have severe cancer, fourth stage. Whatever you Google ends up there, right? So then people, instead of really feeling their body and the invisible doshas, the hidden energies in their body, instead of mastering these hidden energies, people go and start taking medications. And nothing is more inflammatory than medications. Oh my God, there is something called NSAIDs, non steroidal anti inflammatory drugs are the most inflammatory ones. They ruin your intestine. They just decimate your intestine. Okay, they're called anti-inflammatory drugs, and all they do is they try to control the immune system. You don't need to control the immune system. You need to fix your lifestyle. Sleep on time like your mom told you, and eat on time like your mom told you. But don't eat what your mom told you because it's not safe anymore. You had to learn how to cook alternatives to wheat right now. You got to boycott wheat. You got to boycott dairy. Otherwise, you're going to be really, really sick. Okay. Lots of people don't know this. Shashank is saying, yeah, Monsanto was a weapons manufacturer before they got into the food industry. Yes, they used to make chemical weapons. They had Agent Orange, Blue, Violet, Red, Purple, Pink, everything. All different colored, horrible chemicals to drop on your enemy. Right. And then the war got over. Now what to do? You still have to pay all your employees. What to do now? Let's repurpose the weed killer we made. Let's repurpose the plant killer we made called Agent Orange. They used it because Vietnamese people were hiding inside jungles and kicking their ass. The Americans were really getting their ass handed to them in the war until they started using Agent Orange to thin the jungles. So for 10 years, they sprayed it on the jungles. And they thinned down the jungles and then they started shooting them from the air. Okay. So it's great war strategy. Yes, very nice. But why would you spray that on your crops? Just why? Nobody knows. Okay. So anyway, that's not my problem. I don't have a problem. Just don't be a stupid consumer and consume anything, right? They have every right to sell you whatever they want because it's a free market. But you don't. You have every right to say no and don't consume it. Okay. So I'm not an activist. I don't give a shit. But if you want health, if you don't want health, then continue to eat the crap. Okay.
Is inflammation different from allergy?
Allergy is another kind of inflammation only. And then they say that it's specifically triggered by certain foods and certain molecules in the environment, like pollen and whatever, right? It's a bunch of crap. I can cure it like within a month. Just don't buy it, right? I've cured so many people of their allergies. They do my classes, and within a month they don't have allergies. They're not getting fevers. They're not getting that inflammation. Their skin condition is normal. Like, what's going on here? Just following a proper lifestyle and letting the Vata, Pitta, and Kapha do their work. That's it. And we're protecting ourselves, right? We don't need any chemicals. We don't need any medicines. We just need a proper lifestyle. We need discipline. That's what we need. Then it works.
Can our mindset create inflammation? apart from.
Yes. Yeah, of course, of course. Actually, it's inflammation that creates the mindset that creates more inflammation. That's how it works. So the inflammation probably comes first, right? Nobody wants to be in a bad state of mind. Have you noticed? Like nobody really wants it, but most people are. Most people are in a rotten state of mind all the time, and the reason is they don't have electrolyte. That could be one reason. So just they're not getting enough salt, and they're not getting the right amount of salt. So get Himalayan pink salt. It has 84 kinds of salts in it, 84 different salts in it, and you can put that, take half a teaspoon of it, mix it in water, and drink it in the morning and in the evening. If you do that like twice a day, you'll start getting charged in your brain. Some people need it 3 times a day. You can have it again in the afternoon, and that's so good for people's mood. It just improves their mood. And most crankiness is because they're not getting enough electrolytes, so they can't absorb glucose into the cell. Glucose cannot be absorbed in the cell unless you've got electrolyte inside. It's an electrical process how the glucose gets into the cell. If you don't have electrolyte, you don't have electricity inside, no electric charge. So obviously you have no motivation to do anything, and then you get cranky and then you blame others, and then you get into a shitty state of mind. And after you take salt water also, you'll be in a shitty state of mind. But now it's because it's just a habit, and it's easy for you to stop it. You just say, I don't want to be in a shitty state of mind. You can stop it. But earlier, you wouldn't be able to stop it because you don't have electrolyte. But sometimes even inflammation can cause a very cranky state, especially if it's in the brain, in the emotional centers of the brain, and also in the gut. The brain is sympathetic to the gut, so it reflects what's happening in the gut. People with intestinal inflammation can be in a cranky mood all the time. They can be like really unhappy all the time, be in really dirty emotions. Yeah. So I wrote today somewhere, I wrote down what are the 5 stories that people say, uh, you know, I don't know where I wrote it. Which group did I write it? Yeah, okay. So I wrote down 5 stories. Let me find them. This is how I get into a shitty state of mind. Yeah. Yeah, I was telling my yoga students today. One is I am weak and others are exploiting me and I'm falling apart to gain my power back. That's story number one. Nice, no? I'm weak and others are exploiting me, and so the only way to gain my power back is to just fall so sick and show them how sick I am. Just fall apart. And this is what I used to do in the school drills when they make us stupid stuff like hands up, then down, then left, then right. Why? And nobody knows why. Nobody told me why. So I used to just fall down, faint, and then 2 of my friends would come to carry me out. So all 3 of us would escape the class, right? So just fall apart, and people are like, they have all the sympathy for you. Gain your power back when you fall apart, because people want to help you when you're falling apart. Okay, so I am too weak, others are exploiting me, so I'll fall apart. That's the story number one. Story number two is, I'm so strong and I need to care for all these weaklings, all these weak people, but I'm falling apart because they're not grateful. So I want to fall apart. I'm strong, but there are people around me are so weak. So I want to fall apart to show them that they're ungrateful, and to show them how much I actually mean in their lives. So there are people, strong people falling apart. Okay, this is story number two. Amazing story it is. And the third story is, we are each other's support and the world is cruel, but we are falling apart because of the cruelty. This is called the love story. The love story is, you find one bakra, and then both of you sit together and feel that the whole world is against you, and you have each other's support, and then you're still falling apart. Okay, so this is the third falling apart story. And then the fourth food is sorry, the fourth story. What am I saying? Food is, nobody is there for me, so I'm falling apart. This is the one. I'm so lonely. Nobody is there for me. Nobody cares. I'm falling apart. And that's how people fall apart. And the fifth story is, I'm a disappointment to everybody, so I better fall apart. If I fall apart, then at least they'll say that, oh, he's falling apart, and that's why he's not disappoint. That's why he is disappointing us. or something like that. It's a way for people to get some power back from situations that they don't know how to handle. So you've got to stop these stories. Then your inflammation will come down. You've got to just like ruthlessly stop these stories. I will not indulge in these 5 stories ever again. I hope you guys made a note of it. It's very important shit. Okay. So there are a couple of questions here. Uh, Anshuja is saying, good evening, Guruji. What kind of foods can calm the Pitta dominant condition? Foods can't calm the Pitta dominant condition. Lifestyle can. It's what time you eat, what time you sleep, and how you and what stuff you consume. If you're consuming inflammatory content and you're always feeling like something's in danger in your life, and a lot of people feel that India is in danger and they have to help India. Like India has been there for thousands of years, boss. You don't have to help India. Relax. But no, they feel that India is in danger. They have to do something about it. So then they'll have few arguments on Facebook and they'll get very agitated, raise their blood pressure, and feel very sick. So stop all that kind of stuff, right? Yeah. Stop anger, jealousy, and what else? Sadness, and all of these stories. When you do these stories, then you can inflame yourself a lot. All right. So it all begins because there's already you're eating wheat, dairy, eggs, chicken, and having milk and whatever, paneer and shit. People love that paneer shit. So they got diabetes and all sorts of stuff happening. So diabetes is also an inflammation. It's an inflammation of the pancreas. It's an inflammation of the liver, and this causes excess sugar, and it's also lack of electrolyte. Not having electrolyte in the body, you're not able to absorb the sugar into the cells. It's just floating around. And people are like, he's got insulin resistance. I know what to do. Stop eating fats. That's not the solution. You stop eating fats, then a lot of other organs which need fat, they get affected. So stop eating fat is not a solution to diabetes, right? I'm telling you because I had diabetes and I got rid of it, and I had type 1.5 diabetes, and it was just a lack of electrolyte. And of course, bad lifestyle, smoking, drinking, sleeping late, not working out, eating whatever crap. Yeah. So all that kind of stuff. Then Anise is asking how to know whether Pitta Vata, which is imbalanced. If you have cold in the body, constant leaking nose, or that kind of stuff, or if you've got too much heat, boils, pimples, then your pitta is out of balance. Okay. Depending on your symptoms, you can know, right? So, yeah, depending on your symptoms. If you're feeling weakness, kapha is out of balance. And there is no such thing as too much kapha in the arms and legs and bones. You can just go on like putting kapha into your bones and getting stronger and stronger. Ah, thank God. And Vata imbalances, or if Vata is just transporting, just blowing without transporting, you'll get dry. Everything will get dry. Dry skin, dry hair, dry mouth, dry everything. Okay. Constipation. Constipation is like too much Vata without any content, right? So your stories are causing that. Okay. So there's a lot of subtlety in all this diagnosis, and it's not something you can do on your own. But I treat only my students. So if you want to get treated by me, you better get disciplined. I don't treat people who are not disciplined. All right, cool. And those stories would make a best-selling novel, then gets on Netflix. Yes, correct. All Netflix is this only. Aparna is saying, Vanakkam, I have this itching at the back of my throat, which the doctor told me is because of my sinuses. Yeah, so this is another pitta stuck over there. So all you need to do, concentrate, and I've already taught you this in class, Aparna. Concentrate and move the pitta out of your head. Keep taking it out of your head, okay? And you'll be able to get rid of this miraculously in just like a day or two. If you sit and start meditating on it and move the pitta out, that's about it. Just through your breath, through your vata, generate enough winds and then just release it and let it go. It goes. Okay, great. There's no treatment required for all this stuff. People just douse themselves in medicines when And another thing, Aparna, go out and take my advice seriously, right? Like I'm telling people, go to nature and spend 1 hour every day. If you don't have nature where you live, move to a place where you have nature, because you cannot be without nature. I go and expose myself to natural plants for more than an hour every day, and that is really helping me. I don't get cough, cold, nothing. I don't get sore throat. I talk so much and I don't get sore throat, and yeah, nothing happens. And I use the computer a lot. Nothing is wrong with my eyes. Okay, but people like really, I don't know, they're just falling sick at the drop of a hat because they don't have the right lifestyle. You need a lot of microbes to be all right. Lots and lots of them. Okay, don't protect yourself from Kitanu. I take the mud and I rub it in my hands and I walk barefoot to remove all the electric charge from my body, like excess stuff because of radiation, what comes into our body. Ground yourself and let it into the earth. Earth yourself. You can also use an earthing blanket. But nature you can't skip. If you don't have nature and you can't move, go to your terrace and make a garden. Put all sorts of plants in it. All sorts of variety. The more variety you have, the better. All sorts of plants. Just grow it. And go sit there and breathe that. It is through breathing that we fix our microbiome. 85% of our microbes, they come from our breathing. Only 15% comes from food. Okay? You need microbes. And that's why you have this itching and that and this. Yeah? Cool. Hope it's clear. What's next?
Can inflammation lead to mental disorders like depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, personality disorders, etc.?
Yeah, it can. If it depends. If the gut is inflamed, you get a lot of these because a wellness chemical called serotonin is produced in the intestine. You keep eating wheat, keep eating dairy, and then watch Netflix all night. You're feeding yourself with these stories, and then what will happen? You start feeling terrible. So it's a lifestyle thing. You can fix it. I mean, why don't you want to fix it? Haven't you had enough? If people have had enough, get to my website chamundigurukulaam.com and apply to be my student. Then I'll teach you. Okay. .in. I'm so sorry. Chamundigurukulaam.in. Yeah, that's this website. If you go here and apply to be my student, then I'll be happy to put you through a discipline test. And if you pass the discipline test, I'll take you. I can't treat someone who's not disciplined. Okay. If you want to get disciplined, then you go and apply here. All right. And you're contemplating moving to Wellington. Yeah, that is great. Do it. Do it. Do it. Don't contemplate. Just move. Meenakshi is asking, what is earthing blanket? Google it, Meenakshi. What is a cure for ear fungal problems? When you eat, there is secretion coming out. Yeah, shitty lifestyle, man. No boundaries in the skin. So stop your wheat, dairy, eggs, chicken, beef, and whatever pork. Okay, these are all commercially grown animals, and your fish. All of these contain glyphosate that is going and making your ears come out. So just stop that food, and you should find so much improvement right away. Start eating organic food, and you'll get better. And spend time in nature. That's it. Don't take any medicines. All this will be gone. Okay. So basically, no barriers. So things are just like rotting inside. Yeah. Rashmi saying, what do you eat in a day? Please give us certain must-haves, do's and don't-haves, and that and this. I do this, and I have a course here. You know, go and apply here, and if you pass the exam, the discipline test, I'll teach you wholeheartedly. Okay? Yeah. Everyone is different. Each and every individual has to follow a different routine, and you'll get my personal time and my attention, and we'll fix it, whatever your health issues are. Don't worry about it. Okay. So please go to that website and apply. If you follow what I eat in a day, you'll die. Because I eat only once in a day. Yeah, I eat only once in a day. And that's it. And I have normal food like rice, sambar, and vegetable. That's about it. Okay. So I am also doing a lot of water fasting and things like that, and it is not affecting my muscles at all, right? People think that you become thin. There is a guy in Goa who stopped eating completely, and yeah, that's about it. Good, Rashmi applied. Yeah, yeah. Next week you're there, no, Rashmi? Yeah. When you pass, don't worry, we'll take care of it. Okay, great. All right. So yeah, definitely, definitely, you need a good lifestyle change, discipline, guys. All of you need it. That's why everyone's health is like spiraling out of control because you don't have any discipline. So start there, okay? Discipline, 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 always. What else, Yuvraj?
Is there such a thing called dosha body type, pitta body type or vata body type?
Yeah, yeah. So people who, depending on their body structure, those who have larger chests, they produce more um, kapha. They produce more kapha, right? So such bodies are called kapha body type. Those who have the larger midsections, they produce more pitta, and those who have larger hips, they produce more vata. So depending on these, the person is classified as vata. Some there's a combination also. Some people could have large stomach and large hips as well. Wide stomach, not a narrow waist. Those who have narrow waist produce less pitta. The ideal 36, 24, 36 figure, that person is going to have pitta problems, low pitta problems. Okay. So yeah, that's what it is. There are body types, there are other ways to, but then they're not useful. Yeah, people think there's some kind of astrology. They think, oh yeah, I'm Pisces, what are you, like that. Okay, this is not really that valuable of a distinction to make while we treat someone, because even if you are a certain body type, by your lifestyle you could be like really messing yourself up. Your natural advantages, those who have large chest, they'll be naturally strong if their kapha is flowing properly. But if they've got large chest and narrow hips, they'll not have kapha flowing properly. They'll be in so much trouble. Okay, so you've got to be even. You've got to have a normal waist, normal chest, normal hips. Then you will be in better health. And that is a balanced body type. And you can get there with exercise and lifestyle. You can get a good figure, like a balanced figure. Many people are like top heavy, bottom heavy. Some people are midsection heavy. You know, midsection heavy are the heavy pitta. They'll have too much pitta, and if the vata goes down because of their thinking, or the vata gets scattered, it's not taking the passenger, the pitta, because the vata is always scattered. And then they scramble their vata by doing multitask. Multitasking is the best way to scramble your vata, right? Do two things at the same time. You try. Are replying to someone on WhatsApp while trying to write an article. Try this. It requires two different kinds of neurologies to do that, and you can't switch like that. So the vata just gets confused, the movement, and then such a person is going to be really sick. Okay, so even your body symmetry matters for the flow of vata. If your body is not symmetrical, like one shoulder up, I rotate it like this, and then this kind of kyphosis, hyperkyphosis, hyperlordosis. Yeah, if you have all these structural issues, neck craning forward, hyperlordosis of the neck. A lot of people have this. This bad posture is causing the vata not to flow properly, and it's not transporting anything in the body. So yes, uh, body type distinction is there. I mean, it's there. It's just there. It's not very useful. But people make it into astrology. No, for my body type, I should be eating lamb. There's a guy who's going on eating mutton and falling sick because according to his body type, he should be eating. I'm a pitta person, so I should be eating non-veg every day. I'm like, you're killing yourself, man.
Which body and mental functions does pitta influence?
Which body of what?
Body and mental functions does pitta influence? Are there certain body or mental functions where it is?
Yeah, I mean, it's a life force. Now, think of pitta as something that if you have a little amount of it, everything works well. It's a life force. So every cell of your body needs pitta. And if pitta becomes too much, then it doesn't work. So it's not like pitta only does digestion. No, pitta does everything from the blinking of your eyes to the growing of your hair to everything. Every cell in your body requires a certain amount of pitta. If that is exceeded, pitta is highly electric, it burns if it's exceeded. So you should learn how to move the pitta. This is not optional learning for human beings. Everybody has to learn how to move the pitta. If you don't know how to move the pitta out into your, the magic is if that life force touches the aura which we have, which is called Vyana. Even a drop of pitta comes and touches the Vyana multiplies. It's like, how some things just expand when you add water, they just become big, right? Like some sponges, I've seen little sponges. You just put water and boom, it becomes. So like that, your aura kind of expands when it gets even a little bit of pitta out. And if you sit and really meditate on generating pitta and taking it out, you can have a very strong aura, a very strong vyana, it's called. Okay. Forget this word aura. Learn the word vyana. So the vyana becomes extremely powerful.
What happens if we have too little pitta?
Too little pitta, you become lifeless. Things lose color, you start graying, and you become, I don't know, pale. There's no shine in your body and skin. That's externally. Internally, everything becomes kind of sluggish, cold. Everything goes cold. So people who feel cold all the time, they have less pitta.
And if it is in excess, it creates inflammation.
Yeah, if it's an excess and it's going out to your body, then it makes a leader out of you. It creates an aura that can influence everyone. Okay, but if it's getting stuck in the body, then yes, it'll burn your body. You need to keep throwing it out of your head, hands, and your feet. Those are the ways for pitta to go out.
Okay. So, does anyone in the audience has any more questions? Because
Do you know
we are,
Reiki? Have you heard of Reiki?
yes.
It's a transference of pitta. People are basically moving pitta
So
in
you can
Reiki.
transfer it from one person to the other.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Pitta is a force. Like you can transfer it from one person to the other. I was showing today in my martial arts class. I just hit the person with my hands, and they feel the heat. They let go. Like I asked Divya to hold my hand, and I started heating her hand. She couldn't hold me any. You saw it. You were there, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So you can definitely move the pitta out of the body for sure. You can move everything out of the body. Vata, Pitta, and Kapha can move outside the body because these are the doshas even in nature everywhere. We share these doshas with everything around us. So remember, dosha doesn't mean fault. It means hidden, secret, dark, night, that kind of thing. That's dosha.
Okay. So, audience, do you have any questions? Because we are
Yeah, we are almost
almost
at the end, guys. If you have any questions, just shoot. Anybody got questions? Okay. What do we visualize when we let pitta out? Says Anshuja. Good question. You don't visualize anything. You close your eyes and you feel it. There's nothing to visualize. You feel the heat going out of your body. Okay? Just breathe it out and let that feeling. Once you distinctly can recognize the feeling of pitta, you'll be able to let it out. And just with your will, and the vata starts moving with our will. When we will it, and then we breathe, and then we can let it go. All right. So no visualization required. Any other questions? Okay,
okay. I
can't
think
see
there
any
are
more
no
questions.
questions. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't get to use my stick today. Nobody said anything stupid. Okay, no problem. Next class. Not class, but next broadcast.
Yeah.
Okay, Anshu just says thank you. That's it. I guess we're out of questions and we're also out of time. So
Yeah. Okay. So
great.
if you're watching on YouTube, hit subscribe button and hit the like button as well.
Okay. Anis is saying simple exercise for us to balance Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. It is not so simple, Anis. It requires training, but essentially uh, it is concentration on your body, knowing the seats of the Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. The seat of the Vata is the hips, the seat of the Pitta is between the navel and the sternum, and the seat of Kapha is in the lungs. So learning to flow the Kapha and the Pitta out of your body using the Vata is a form of meditation, and it's a meditative movement as well, right? It's a movement meditation. Yeah, we call it Meipadam in Tamil Nadu, and this is what we teach. And if you really want to learn, you know where to go. If you're serious about learning, and it's not free, guys, it's not cheap either. Get ready to spend money if you want to learn. This is chamundigurukulaam.in. Make a note. And if you like what you read over there, please apply and we'll certainly teach you. In 1 year, you'll learn. It takes 1 year to learn all these things properly. Okay. So invest time in this. It's better to invest time in this than investing money in the hospital later after you're sick, We just made a list. We made a PDF of how much people spend in a year for various complications of their organs that the doctors can't solve, and they spend per year what 60 lakhs. How much? On an average, 60 lakhs is what you'll have to spend in a year once you're sick. So before you get there, you better join my course. My course is only 1 lakh. Okay, so it's a good bargain for those who want. Okay, next question. Why are people claustrophobic? That's because they have very small auras. They don't have any pitta going out. They have low pitta, so their aura is very very small. And if they're not having any space, then they feel trapped and they feel claustrophobic, and that can be fixed easily. All right. Okay, Vijay is saying thank you. Great. Thanks for watching, Vijay. Okay, I think we're at the end. Yeah, I hope you're doing all these things like subscribe, comment, no, not comment, like, share, and stuff like that. If you're not doing all this, the stick will land on your head. Okay, I hope we get more subscribers now.
Yeah.
Samir is saying, please subscribe, everybody. Thanks, Samir. Okay, great. So let's call it a day. Thank you so much, Yuvraj. I
Thank
can't
you.
see any more questions. So thank you, audience. Thank you all for being here and learning something useful. Put it to practice and get the results. All right. See you.